Cormier, Stipe 2. Let me speak purely for myself. Purely for myself. I need a reason. If I've seen something once, in this case, I saw these guys fight already. Saw them, same two guys, same weight class, in the same cage, doing the same thing. I need a reason to believe that if I see it again, the outcome could be different. Now, I want to see those two monsters fight each other all day, every day. I got no problem with that. I believe Stipe to be the greatest heavyweight and most decorated and all these different things. I believe Daniel Cormier to be on his way to being the greatest heavyweight, and I get it. I get all of that stuff, right? And I see so many breakdowns where the guy in my spot breaks it down and brings it to you, and all he does is read their resumes. Well, Stipe knocked out this guy, and Daniel Cormier knocked out. I got it. I've seen these two guys fight. I love to see them fight. But why are they fighting again? Now, that's the question, but I feel like I have the answer. At least I do for myself, okay? When I watched that fight, in fact, let me back you up. Leading into that fight, Stipe. That was my answer day one, Stipe. Stipe's a heavyweight. Daniel Cormier was coming up from 205. Stipe. I got this one all figured out. Stipe. And I went to that fight. I was in Las Vegas. It was 2 days before the fight, 1 day before the weigh-in, and they do an open workout. Open workout goes great. Stipe looks amazing. DC looks amazing. But DC grabs the microphone, and he says, hey, guys, we're in Vegas. I'm a 2.5 to 1 underdog, and trust me, go place your bets and make that money. Then he goes on to say, I have fought at heavyweight. I have wrestled at heavyweight. I have never been defeated at heavyweight. As a matter of fact, I've never even lost a single round at heavyweight. Now, that's true. And many of you probably knew that because you followed his career. Many of you didn't know that because you were new fans and didn't know about Daniel Cormier's foray into heavyweight and what he did over in Strikeforce through the Grand Prix and the whole reason why he went down to 205 and his own teammate Cain Velasquez in the same gym, and they worked it all out, between each other. But I go back even further where I watched his wrestling days, and when he says he used to wrestle at heavyweight and he's never lost, that's true. And on the spot, I flipped to Daniel. And it had nothing to do with Stipe. I recognized Stipe as the world heavyweight champion. I recognized him as the most accomplished and most title. I recognized one had nothing to do with the other. That's true. He's never even lost a round. Okay, I guess Daniel wins. Right? That was all the reasoning I had, but it was a fair point. It was a fair point by Daniel. He made it. I'd forgot it. I'd followed his career. I forgot it. Got reminded. Okay, great. So the fight goes off and happens, but for many people, and I do want to tell this story and condescend and bore some of you who have been along for the journey and saw the first one, but there's plenty of you that didn't. And if you go and read about it or you hear about it and it was a first-round knockout for Daniel Cormier, there's more to it. There is more to it. I think it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds. I know I'm very close, and Daniel knocked him out. But for the 2 minutes and 40 seconds prior, Stipe had very good moments. Stipe did. He got an underhook at one point. This is a small wrestling thing, but you wrestling-minded people understand this. He got an underhook. He threw it by. He took Daniel's back. Now, he never fully secured a position, and Daniel did good things too. There was good moments by both of them, but it's still a dance when one person can lead, and Stipe was leading. That's true. That did happen, and when Stipe left that fight, he said, man, it was all going my way. I could feel it. That would never happen again. Now, that doesn't mean it won't happen again, but it was enough for me to be compelled to trust Stipe, to trust in his own experience and his own moments in there. And while you may think 2 minutes and 41 seconds isn't very long, you're right in comparison to the scheduled 25 minutes, but 2 minutes and 41 seconds is a long time. 2 minutes and 41 seconds in a fist fight with a trained killer who's a world champion. They were both world champions. Don't forget that. That is a long time. So when you just want to establish the feeling out process, I feel your strength, you feel mine. I feel your speed, you feel mine. I feel your boxing ability, I feel your wrestling ability, and you feel mine. And we're going to come together and have an assessment of what happened here. Stipe is a pretty good guy to go talk to. His opinion has to matter in this. Now, Cormier's come out and said, I was Cormier actually never did say this. But here's something that I felt that Daniel could have said. And I will say this from personal experience, because I went in and worked out with Daniel after he was a heavyweight. I've trained with Daniel many times when he was a light heavyweight. But one thing that did happen in that fight that I'm not sure Stipe's taking into account was that was a brand new weight for Daniel, at least in a meaningful period of time. And even if he used to be a heavyweight or all these, he wrestled at heavyweight, but that was in 2007. Okay, he fought at heavyweight, that was in 2011, 2012. Essentially, it was a new foray. Essentially, it was his first time into it, right? Imagine if I told you guys, you need to go lose 40 pounds and go do an athletic contest. And you would go, 40 pounds, I have no idea how I would do if I lost 40 pounds. That would be such a struggle. And then I came back to you and go, well, at some point you were 40 pounds less. Whether you were a junior in high school or a senior, at some point in your life, you weighed 40 pounds less than you did now. So you see what I'm saying? It's not totally fair to go, well, Daniel had done it before. It was so long ago, it was like a new coat of paint. And anytime you change, and it's up or down, it's included if you go down, how are you going to feel? There's a big question. Then there's that adjustment phase. And then you work through the kinks and you figure out, is this my weight class or I need to go back to a different one? Daniel, in many ways, I just don't think fought his best fight. And I did see what Stipe said he felt. I saw that. I saw Stipe taking charge of that. In the brief wrestling exchanges they had, in the brief striking exchanges, I saw what Stipe saw. I would just offer for you, perhaps, no way to know if I'm right, but perhaps Daniel needed a minute there. He needed a couple of times at that weight. He needed to get his footing a little bit. Stipe did find him at the end of those punches. But Derek Lewis didn't. Right? I mean, once Stipe kind of figured it out, things changed. They did change a little bit. And the personal story I was just going to share, when I worked out with him, I couldn't believe, I left that workout and I was there, one of my trainers, Ryan Parsons, was with me. And he said, well, what'd you think? How'd you feel? And I didn't really have a personal assessment. I go, hey, that's where Daniel belongs. So many guys will spend so long in combat sports, specifically because those are the sports you have to make weight for, of trying to find their perfect weight. And other sports don't have that. Right? A basketball player really doesn't know, what should I weigh? What weight should I be to play my best game and feel my best and be my fastest? He doesn't really know. A football player doesn't really know, even a great one. Maybe he would have done better if he was just 15 pounds smaller. Maybe he would have been a little bit quicker. You don't really know, but in combat, you can figure that out. And I would suggest for you that the one thing through this experiment that Daniel has found, whether he realizes it or not, this is a guy that felt both of them, the light heavyweight Daniel and the heavyweight Daniel. He found his weight class. He is a heavyweight. And the people that have tried to tell him he's not is largely because of his height. He's just under 6 feet, and there's not a lot of heavyweights that have been meaningful that are just under 6 feet, right? You have to turn to Mike Tyson, and you have to go back a little bit. Igor Vovchinkin, you guys remember him? Mixed martial arts? Just not a lot of guys at heavyweight that don't have that stature, but he's got a different body. He's more dense. He's more durable. He buries that shit. It's just a different thing. I would suggest for you what's going to be different is going to be twofold. First off, Stipe Miocic is going to have a different level of confidence and a different level of hunger of trying to capture something as opposed to protect something. He also fully believes in what he is telling you. He's a very honest and sincere guy when he tells you, I felt that guy, I tested that guy, and I can beat that guy. He's telling you the truth. I will offer from you, whether Daniel is saying or Daniel is now at the right weight class. He has found the right weight, and he's established himself, and he's acclimated, and he's settled in. I think that we do have a different fight. I really do. Do we have a different outcome? Let them go figure it out. But I think we're going to get some minutes. I would be beyond stunned. Either way, should this end in the first round. It was a shocker when it did the first time. I think we're going to see some minutes here. I don't think you're going to see a big feeling out process by Stipe. I think that you probably will by Daniel. He likes to do that. He likes to feel himself out at first couple spots. I think Stipe is going to come out. I think Stipe is a little bit angry for the first time in his career.